A sharp decline in recent years. It's seen a drop of nearly 50% in the dollar price per ounce from peak levels 5 years ago. Recently, the world's second largest producer, mining company Impala Platinum, announced it is planning to shed over 13,000 jobs in order to absorb the effects of the crisis. Similar job cuts have been announced by rival Lonmin. AMCU is now the dominant union in the sector and has threatened to bring Implats to its knees if it doesn't shelve plans to reduce the workforce, and has called on government to nationalize 5 of the 11 shafts the mining giant says are unprofitable. Well, Krister van Rensburg is AMCU's head of Divisional Organisational Development and joins us now in the studio. Good evening to you and thank you for your time. Firstly, have I outlined your demands as you see them?
You have, to a particular extent. The issue of nationalisation, however, is that we're saying that mines and shafts that are on care and maintenance should be nationalised. It was not a blanket statement. You would know on the 20th of March this year, we had a national march, a socio-economic march, and one of our demands, which actually found a lot of traction with Minister Gwede, was that all mines in care and maintenance should be made productive again.
Right, we'll come back to that question in a moment, but let's look at the broader picture, if you like. The price of platinum, as I said in my introduction, has tanked in recent times. There is a sense that perhaps, are you not blaming the mines for something that's not their own doing?
Well, that is the popular opinion, but if you look inside, there's always ways of doing things better. And we are, as AMCU, on a record to make good proposals, progressive proposals, to see how we can make do with what we have.
They would contend that along with dealing with the sharp decline in the price of platinum, one of the things they've had to contend with is unreasonable demands that in particular your union has been making.
We're glad to say that the Section 189 notice of this, for instance, didn't contain anything about labour unrest. You would know the last strike we ever had at Impala Platinum was in 2013, the 5-month strike. Since then, it's been peaceful. We've had a harmonious relationship. So I don't think that's quite true.
But of course, now we're facing a scenario where you're saying if they don't shelve these plans and if they don't protect these jobs, your president has threatened to bring this mining company to its knees.
Yes, definitely. You would know Labour's biggest power, and let's be honest, almost its only power, apart from convincing the other party, is to withhold labour.
But yeah, on the other hand, they could say, why keep jobs that they clearly cannot afford? I mean, they've got the same workforce for a commodity whose value has halved in 5 years. They certainly can't keep those workers.
You know, mining is a complex business decision. It's always about the depth, how easy it is to get the minerals out of the ground. And that business decision, the rationale of Impala, is what we want to talk about during the consultation.
So let's talk about your plan then, or at least your proposal to have those unprofitable shafts nationalized. What do you say to those who say, look at what the state has done with the companies that it has been running? I mean, you only have to look at SAA or Eskom to see the troubles there. What could they do in mining they can't get right elsewhere?
Yes, well, remember, nationalization is something that can be used broadly. The term can be used loosely. What we were thinking of during our deliberations on this was also something like public-private partnerships. We get the IDC to fund BEE partners and to get those mines going again.
So what can small operators, you've got the 2 biggest producers in the world, they can't manage those shafts. What could small operators do that they can't?
But basically, the big thing small operators can do is they cut out the fat. They cut out the top-heavy structure. Often they can do things much cheaper.
There is a view that almost everyone in the industry simply didn't see the writing on the wall. You're carried on as if there was no tomorrow. We find ourselves in this crisis. These producers are trying to do something about it and you're getting in the way.
Well, that's a view we don't agree with. We've been working with the mines, all the mining houses in the country. We believe there should be done more. The MPRDA, the Mineral and Petroleum Resources Development Act, as you know, set about something called future forums, where these things need to be discussed. Issues like human resource development, possible retrenchment. Unfortunately, those things are not being implemented properly. That's also why we marched on 20 March to ask the DMR to intervene and regulate.
On the other hand, I mean, you can call for regulation all you want, but there is also the sense that you're getting left behind. I mean, one of the things Joseph Matunjwa, the president of AMCU, has highlighted is he's concerned about mechanization. Now, that's mining the world over. That's how it's being done. Your workers are going to be left behind.
Well, you would know AMCU is actually on record. Our formal position is that we are in favor of people-centered modernization of mines. However, we should walk very, very carefully on that.
But what
path.
I'm saying is, for example, let's look at the gold sector. There's a reason why countries like Australia, for example, have overtaken us. I mean, we used to be the dominant producer. I think we're like 8th or 9th on the list as far as gold is concerned. They've gone the mechanization route. They're not closing their mines down. They are running profits in their businesses. That's the way to go, and you're getting left behind.
Well, the geography in Australia, as you might know, is quite different. And that's why their machines are not applicable here. What we have, as AMCU, have said all along, is let's build machines, but let's build them here. Use our people to build them. Use our people to operate them. We are looking for a fair transition from a labor-intensive sector to a modernized sector of tomorrow.
If we think about this mix that you're talking about, I mean, the best example South Africa can offer of a state-run mining company in recent times have been Alexkor. And that picture, the picture that's emerging out of that isn't very pretty. I mean, what did we hear from Pravin Gordhan the other day? 10% of expenditure was focused on directors. That sort of thing is surely going to hurt your workers, even if what you are proposing comes into effect.
No, definitely. We are not without criticism of the government. SOEs, as you say, are in a state of crisis. We will never, ever disagree about that. But we want to make it work. If we see there are mines that can employ people, we want to find ways to make the government assist people to be productive.
What about the idea that union bosses tend to live large whilst they make all these demands and they don't take any responsibility when their workers are left in the lurch?
Well, that's definitely not the case with AMCU. You know, with AMCU, we are very, very committed to the workers. We listen to the mandate of the workers. We are close to the workers. Our president, Joseph Matunjwa, you would know, is always close on the ground. He's never in the office almost. He's always at the branches, at the mass meetings, facing members. This week, for instance, he will be working right through this long weekend when many people are resting.
The best model, some would argue, is where there are risks taken by those in the private sector, and of course profits need to be made, and taxation and money goes to the fiscus. That's really the best model for mining. There's no guarantee forever that employees will be given jobs in perpetuity.
Well, definitely, but we must also agree that there is funding. The IDC has funding. We have a need to develop entrepreneurs, especially black entrepreneurs.
The IDC has to fund what's going to be profitable. I mean, they're not just giving money.
No, definitely, it must be profitable, must be viable from the get-go, must be viable.
So what happens next?
What we believe in our mind is that we must come with concrete proposals. We believe we found some traction with Minister Gwede Mantashe on our proposals in our memorandum.
It's an election year, of course he's going to agree with you. He's not going to say workers must lose their jobs.
Well, fair point, fair point. But still, we believe we have gained some traction and we want to push forward now. We think now is the opportune time.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. That was Krister van Rensburg, AMCU's head of Divisional Organisational Development. Stay with us. We've got more news and analysis after this quick break.